Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is SBJ and today we are going to be doing the January layout update. Thanks for coming back. If you are new to the channel, thank you for joining. If you're a long-time viewer, then perfect. You'll be catching up with all of the bits that I've been doing on the railway so far. If I'm really honest, for the month of January, there's not a lot of updates necessarily physically on the layout. One of the biggest things that's happened is I've been going around the layout and adjusting where the lights are. I've put support beams in around the layout and I've moved some lights down. I've put in flicker switches so that I can actually turn certain lights on and off, thus adjusting the mood? Adjusting the lighting in the loft a lot better. I've also moved my actual office up into the loft, hence why the last two videos you will have seen, you'll see the loft in the background. That's simply because as my daughter's getting older and I'm using chemicals for airbrushing, it has become apparent that she is quite strong and can open bottles that she should not be opening. So I decided to move up into the loft and separate my work desk from my hobby desk in order to make it a little bit safer for a child. What that does mean is I've in essence got my desk up here, although it's not really a desk anymore, and I'm going to show you some of those bits in a second. I've also consolidated a lot of things down. I've chucked, I think, somewhere in the region of about 6 bags of rubbish out the loft and I'm still not done. It has also highlighted various bits that I need to do in the loft. However, we'll come back to that later. What we are going to do, we're going to have a quick look at the layout and see the little bits that have changed, and then I'll be back with you guys in a sec. Okay, so number one, so on the west side layout, if you're new here, we talk about the west side of the layout being if I'm facing the station. The west side is the left side, and that's where the canal, the old canal wall is. That is what we refer to as the west side here. If you look at the east side or the right side, I forgot my left and right for a second there. That is the going off the island part of the layout. The reason I've put it in this way is so it makes it easier when I'm talking about it. And then the centre is the station area because that's the biggest part of the layout. So on this particular part, nothing has changed. Absolutely, I've done nothing. I lie, I have done something here. I have managed to wire up the point motor that I needed to wire up in this section. I'd been putting this off for quite a while, and in the end I decided it was best if I got the point motor in and set up. Previous videos you will have seen that I had a 4-lane crossover from the furthest lane to the closest lane with loads of points. It didn't necessarily work as well as I wanted, and it also took up a massive chunk of space for not a lot of reliability. So I took that back, so we now just have 2 lines, and I have 1 set of points that goes off towards platform 3. The joy of doing this is that I have a lot more space. I cut the layout right back, and it's given me a little bit of space up in the loft to do this. But yeah, I've wired up that point now, so that now works, and it looks quite nice. I need to ballast that point and then weather all this track, because it is definitely the odd part of this area of the layout, because a lot of the track around here is weathered already. It just needs toning down a little bit. So that's the west side of the layout. Above it, what I've done is I did have a light above, and basically I have built a batten to go across the top of the layout, and I've moved the light down to there, which has given me better lighting, and it's also not necessarily shining right in my eyes. What this has allowed me to do is install a television up on that part of the layout as well. So if I look up, there is an old TV that we had in the house, and I've mounted it on the wall. That has a cable that runs to my desk, which allows me to either hook up any computer that I'm running off here, and hopefully when it comes to an automation side of things, I'll be able to have the screen up there so I can see what's going on, which would make things rather handy. Likewise, it means that I can also, whilst I'm pottering around, I can watch YouTube videos now rather than just listening to music or podcasts and stuff like that, so that's always fun. Either side of the television, I have put some shelves where I store my airbrush paints and some random bottles of other various painting bits. It just frees up a little bit of space on the desk, and as you'll see in a bit, my desk still isn't that free. I need to whittle down stuff or find a storage solution for a lot of stuff, so that's next on the list. But yeah, that's the west side of the layout. As we move around to the east side of the layout, on the right hand side, A lot of this has stayed the same. The big thing that has changed in this particular area is that I have rewired up the points. When I trimmed this particular part of the layout back to make more space, like I did on that side, I actually accidentally cut the cables for the point motors, so there were 3 points that no longer worked. So over the last couple of nights I have resoldered them, rehooked them up and stuff, so they're now all working. So now all the points on the layout work, which is always good. Always nice to know that the points are working. I should, on this side of the layout, have already plaster bandaged it, but I keep putting it off. I don't know why, but it is the next step I want to take in terms of adding scenery to the layout. That needs doing, that needs fixing. And once again, on this side of the layout, I've done the exact same thing. I had a light above the layout, but it was so high that it didn't necessarily focus all of the light onto the layout. It made the room very light, but it made the layout almost orangey, and by bringing it down about a foot, it's actually enhanced the light on the layout. So hopefully when I run trains now, their picture is a lot better coming from that. It needs tidying up where I've lowered the lights a lot more. It just needs to look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Likewise, I want to buy some rolls of cloth to basically put all around the edge of the layout, because as you can see behind me, I've tried to cover up the mess of my loft, which unfortunately hasn't worked massively, but I've at least covered as much as I possibly could, because there's just so many like kids' toys and DIY tools and Christmas bits behind me that I don't want to get rid of those, but at the same time you guys don't need to see all that, and that's something I need to work on as well. So like little aesthetic bits are definitely high on the list over the next month or so. So since the last update, we have had the Christmas period. I got a few hobby bits for Christmas in the form of a Bachmann Class 37 in Intercity livery with petroleum branding, and a Class 08 in Intercity livery. I also got myself a Sprog computer interface, so I'm able to write decoders now on my hobby desk when it gets set up, so that I can actually program CV settings and stuff like that without necessarily having to do it on the layout, which is very handy for when I want to read what the code is on a chip, because a lot of the times I take a chip out of something and don't put it back to 3, so I'm really bad for that. So it's handy, you install a chip in something, put it on the Sprog, check that it all works okay, and take it forward. If you would like to see a video in the future of how I use the Sprog and what I do, that's certainly something I can look into. There are people out there who have done videos on it. Chadwick Model Railway and DCC Guy have done guides on using the Sprogs as well, so always worth having a check out of their channels. It's at this point in the video that I'm gonna just re-announce the fact that I do have a Facebook group for Emperor's Path. It's a very quiet group at the moment. If you want to join the group and share the bits and bobs that you work on, or your layout, or you want to have a conversation with people, please join the Emperor's Path group and we can have a nice chat in there. At the end of this month, so this will be on the 28th, Saturday the 28th of January. I am going to the Southampton Model Railway exhibition, which is held in Eastleigh. I went to it last year with Dib from Dib Shunting Layout, and we had a fantastic time. And I'm really excited to be going there again, and excited to see what different layouts are there as well. If you see me there, come say hi. If you don't know, I do weathering commissions and I do repainting. I repainted my Network Southeast forcep unit, and I will be repainting another unit in the next coming month. I've got a lot on the table. I'm very excited to do it, and for the first time I will be painting the Southwest Trains livery, not just on my loco, but on Greg Marshall's locos. So Greg runs Ebworth Street on Instagram and also Gordon's Lane. I got to meet up with Greg and we had a big old chat, and I fanboyed about Gordon's Lane a lot because I love how, in essence, it's a simple layout, but at the same time it's a beautiful, stunning layout as well. We had a great amount of chat, so if you want to go check out his YouTube channel, you can do so down below. Over the coming month, I will be working on 4 forcep units, 3 Bachmann ones, one of which is my own, 2 of which are Greg's, and 1 for Stu, who's not on Instagram, so I can't share any of his information, but a nice guy who is also at the same club as Greg. I'm also going to be painting a 4 EPB for Martin. Martin also has a YouTube channel and is also part of the same model railway club as Greg and Stu, and you can find his channel down below as well. I love watching Martin's stuff simply because of how much is going on at his layout, and he has such a big fiddle yard. It makes me very envious. One thing I wish I had more of on my layout is a bigger fiddle yard, so I can run bigger trains or have more trains that could go around, but that's by the by, that's something for another day. Yeah, so that's keeping me busy for the next month. I've got a few weathering commissions coming up as well. If you are interested in getting in touch for any commission work or even just advice with weathering, I'm always happy to help. That wraps up this video then. A massive thank you to everybody who's come back in this new year. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. Hope you had a great new year. If you haven't watched it already, you can. There's a little card up above here, somewhere up here. You can watch my live reaction to the Hornby 2023 announcement. I was really impressed with some of the stuff that got announced, not necessarily the production value on it, so that's always worth a watch if you want to see me on both sides of the coin. If you want to support what I do, you can support me using Ko-fi, where you will find a link in the description below. It is basically a little bit like Patreon. You can support what I do for as little as it costs for a cup of coffee per month. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you enjoy what I do, click the subscribe button, and if you have anything to share with me, any advice, constructive criticism, or just good words, please leave a comment down below. My name's SBJ, you've been watching Emperor's Path. Thanks very much. Bye!